Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the SLDC Board of Director meeting on February 20th, 2025, 8 a.m. I would like to call the meeting to order. Can I have a roll call, please?
Sure. Director Arnold,
Present.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard,
Here.
Director Gilbert,
Here.
Director McBride,
Present.
Alderwoman Saunier,
Present.
Director Spencer, Director Reed, and Chair Richardson.
Present. We have a quorum. With that, we'll take the first item on the agenda, which is the approval of the minutes for the January 16th, 2025 regular board meeting. Can I please have a motion to approve the minutes from the January 16th meeting?
So moved.
Second.
The motion and second. Can I have a vote, please?
Director Arnold,
Aye.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard,
Aye.
Director Gilbert,
Aye.
Director McBride,
Yeah.
Alderwoman Saunier,
Aye.
and Chair Richardson.
Aye. With the majority present voting aye, the motion passes to approve the minutes from the January 16th meeting. The first resolution we have before the board today is resolution number 25, SLDC 996, authorizing a revised agreement with Build Missouri Health to serve as a fiscal sponsor and support for the Green City Coalition. Pass it over to Mr. Mike Ziegler for the presentation.
Good morning. Thanks for the opportunity to present. My name is Mike Ziegler. I'm the director of the Green City Coalition. Neil asked me to share a few words about the GCC before I present the resolution. So with that in mind, the Green City Coalition is an initiative of SLDC whose primary focus is to convert vacant land and underutilized park space into community green spaces that feature native landscapes that work to promote biodiversity, climate resilience, access to nature, and overall neighborhood beautification and uplift. So a couple examples that illustrate kind of the work we do in community. One is at Peace Park, which is a block of vacant parcels in the College Hill neighborhood across from the North Graham Water Tower, where we've worked with residents and community partners to convert this vacant block into community park. And we've just completed phase 1 in 2024 and are moving to phase 2 in 2025. Another example is in Wells Goodfellow, the Wells Goodfellow green spaces, where we worked with the residents to identify vacant problem properties and work to demolish those sustainably and convert it with native green space into a community greenway through the neighborhood. So those are just two examples from the 50 acres of native landscapes that we manage across the city. GCC has been around since 2016, and it's not a standalone entity. It's a cooperative agreement between SLDC, the City of St. Louis, which is both forestry and the planning department, Missouri Department of Conservation, as well as MSD. So as a standalone entity, we need to have a fiscal sponsor in order to receive and disperse funds. So that's what this resolution is regarding. Towards that end, we've had a 3-year resolution with Build Missouri Health as one of our fiscal sponsors. Build Missouri Health is a subsidiary of the Missouri Foundation for Health. And like I said, we've worked with them since 2022. And this resolution seeks authorization to approve the renewal of the fiscal sponsor agreement between the GCC and Build Missouri Health for the 2025 calendar year.
Please hang up and dial 911 or head to the nearest emergency room.
So I don't have any medical emergencies, but
Hey, Rob, can you please put your phone on mute, Rob, please?
If you are
Or confirm that everything's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, so with that, if anyone has any further questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Any questions from the board as it relates to the resolution or the Green City Coalition work? I would like to recognize the hand of Alderwoman Saunier.
Just wanted to say that it sounds like an excellent program. I love the idea of converting vacant spaces to green spaces. I feel like I see a lot of residents and community groups attempt to do that themselves proactively, sometimes in lack of kind of not having other resources. I did have a question about how do you go about selecting locations and like locations to convert in that process?
Great. Yeah, that's a great question. So a lot of our site selection is driven by what's called the vacancy prioritization model, which was developed in coordination with MSD. And it focuses on one of the main things is high flood risk because we use green spaces as green infrastructure to mitigate against flood risk. So it looks at high flood risk areas, high vacancy areas, and then access or connection to existing green space. And it's a model that kind of works to use all those factors to select general areas. And then when it comes to specific site selections of parcels, we work with neighborhood residents to identify parcels in their neighborhoods to work to identify one partnership that we're looking for the coming years, working with the neighborhood planning process to work with neighborhood residents to identify further parcels for intervention.
And you're talking about the like how some neighborhoods have kind of master plans that identify the desires. Okay.
Yeah. So great. Thank you.
Great presentation, Mike. Any other questions from the board? Okay, hearing none, I would like to entertain a motion to approve resolution number 25 SODC 996.
So move, Gilbert.
Second. Had a motion by Gilbert and a second by Arnold. Can I have a vote, please?
Director Arnold.
Aye.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard. Aye. Director Gilbert. Oh, she might be
Aye.
frozen. Oh, there we go. Okay. Director McBride.
Aye.
Alderwoman Sonier.
Aye.
Director Reed
Aye.
and Chair Richardson.
Aye. With all present voting aye, the motion passes to approve resolution number 25 SODC 996. The next item on the agenda is resolution number 25 SODC 997, authorizing reallocation of our 30% AMI rental housing program funds to a selected development project. I'll pass it over to Mr. Dylan Holliam for the presentation today.
Good morning. My name is Dylan Holliam. I serve as the citywide housing strategist here at St. Louis Development Corporation. As you know, St. Louis Development Corporation has deployed a 30% AMI funding source for developers and for projects to do vacant unit turns, essentially. And this opportunity has been awarded for 4 projects, and I'm here requesting that the $700,000 that we initially awarded for one project be conveyed over to another project in Cambridge Heights, in the Cambridge Heights project, to continue to support that. The reason we are requesting this reallocation is prior to this, the residents at North Point, the original program or the original project that was funded, was unable to attain the funds needed to complete the project. And so that project was not able to push through as a viable project. And so what we've seen through Cambridge Heights, as we've been working through kind of doing the legal documents and the due diligence phase, myself and one of our facilities managers here went out to view the property, and we found that there was extensive environmental concerns that needed to be addressed. And these environmental concerns go beyond the scope of the 30% AMI vacant unit turn, right? The original point of the 30% program was to do the simple unit turns, put the paint on the walls, give me some new lights, give me some new appliances, right? Some FF&E kind of things. But we've seen the extensive nature of the environmental concerns being that of mold. We realized that in order to protect the integrity of the program, to protect our residents who are staying there in the city, and then also to maintain the life of the project, we need to do extensive work on the testing and mitigation of the mold in order to begin the actual process of doing the unit turns. And so I'm requesting that the $700,000 that was originally allocated to residents at North Point be allocated to support the mold remediation and testing, and to support the move of the residents in the interim to for this project.
Dylan, can you go into a little bit more detail around the process of how you engage the substantial award committee to ensure that they approved and signed off, and who made up that substantial award committee?
Absolutely. The Substantial Award Committee I requested that this money be allocated initially from the committee. The committee consists of, I don't know everybody's names by heart, I'm sorry.
But what offices, at least name the offices?
From the mayor's office, from our board, from our legal team, that pretty much everybody who's who's been involved in some of our processes and knows kind of how things work. The request came in initially asking that we would do, what came to be when we visit the project. We witnessed some theft. And so the initial proposal for the Substantial Award Committee was to use the $700,000 to support the mold remediation and testing and also cameras for the property so that no more theft would happen. Well, the Substantial Award Committee said that they would be interested in doing that if the Housing Authority, who also has ownership stake in the property, if they would be willing to do that. I talked with the Housing Authority and they were interested in not pursuing the security, but doing all of the $700,000 toward remediation. Therefore, those dollars essentially are going to be going towards the testing and remediation for the environmental concerns.
And also, Dylan, can you confirm that members of a member or representative from the president of the Board of Aldermen was present, as well as the comptroller's office?
Yes, I confirm.
Other questions from members from the board? Director Gilbert, I seen your hand first.
Yes, thank you. What's the shortfall from the prior project? I mean, they didn't have enough money to complete it, even with the money we had allocated. Was that an indication we had at the beginning? Were they raising money? I don't understand how they couldn't use our $700,000 to do some of this. Did we not allow that? Do we not allow that?
Well, I think the original scope of work, the first phase of the first phase was around $560,000. The second phase was around 625, something like that. But when we did our site visits, we realized that the extensive nature goes beyond regular unit turns, right? There's going to be actual construction activity that needs to happen in order to maintain the safety of the residents and for the units. And we did cost estimates with a few companies that showed that it's going to cost around close to $695,000 for everything included. And so that's why we need these additional dollars to support this work so that we can go back to our original scopes of work, in the unit terms.
I think the Director
okay.
Gilbert's question was in regards to resident at Northport Point
Oh.
Development Project and why,
Yes.
They
Oh,
were
I'm
not
sorry.
able to take on that $700,000.
They simply weren't able to get the funding from MHDC that they had in their original capital stack.
So
Yes.
that had not been confirmed when we made our commitment. Can you
No.
remind me where Cambridge Heights is?
Downtown off of man, what are the streets? Sorry.
So it is, Director Gilbert, Cambridge Heights is the apartment complex just north of the Bottle District. If you know where the Bottle District is
Yeah.
located. So
Yeah.
it's in
Right next to the dome.
north downtown. So that's, again, it's a housing complex that's been around for almost 20 years. It has now passed its compliance period for low-income housing tax credits. There is a ground lease between the development partner and the St. Louis Housing Authority. The majority of the units are also public housing or Section 8 vouchers within the units. And so as we think about our 30% AMI program, it was about the preservation of those units. And unfortunately, as you are aware, once the compliance period burns off, it's a challenge for these projects to continue to cash flow. And absent of the developer moving forward with another LATEC allocation, their focus right now is on getting the property back cash flowing. And so what they need in this moment in time is to be able to turn units. Currently, they're around 60% occupancy rate. And so not being able to turn these units are continuing to create a cash flow challenge for the overall sustainability of the project. So these dollars going to this project will allow for them to turn these units, revitalize these units while preserving the current tenants that are there. And then also helping stabilize that asset for long-term success. In our conversations with the development partner, they're looking to refinance potentially their debt with MHDC as well as with other financing partners to ensure that they can cash flow and make sure that their project is sustainable long term. The reason why this project I think is so significant is because this speaks to the high need of housing for individuals at 0 to 30%, and not being able to support a development that already has units in place. It's more cost effective to preserve units than build new units. And that's why we've seen a clear opportunity and a need in this project. So that gives you some more background and context of why this project was selected for additional funding. But as Dylan spoke to, once we seen that there were some environmental challenges with some of the units that they were looking to turn, we want to make sure that we address that immediately. And then we can address some of those other cosmetic things such as painting tiles and flooring and those other areas to support the quality of life for those residents.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I want to pass it over to Director McBride.
Thank you. And I think if North Point made the cut ahead of Cambridge Heights, is there a plan to assist the residents at North Point then, even though they couldn't finish the last mile, so to speak, for the capital stack? It sounds like the dollars are being well used for Cambridge Heights, but it makes me suspect that North Point also has significant issues and want to make sure they don't get left behind.
Want to speak to that, Dylan, and your conversations with
Yeah, I mean, at this time, we don't have we don't have a path forward. I think our main focus has been kind of alleviating this environmental hazard at the moment. But I do think, as we move forward, we can think about other paths forward to support the residents at North Point. And also,
I appreciate there are scarce funds, but I'll let you finish, Dylan. I apologize.
Well, I mean, also, like the unit is actually less than 50% occupancy, and without these funds, this project will go. And so instead of seeing 2 projects die, let's save one, and then let's kind of regroup and think about what we can do going forward. Yeah.
No, I don't disagree. I just don't want to let's not lose sight of North Point either. Thank you.
Yeah, and just really quickly, and I don't want to belabor the point because I know we have a lot on the agenda today, but also MHDC and some of the other federal funding for, affordable housing is going to be a challenge moving forward. So we will continuously work to identify resources to support projects such as residents at North Point. But again, as Dylan alluded to, we wanted to ensure that if resident at North Point wasn't able to leverage these funds in a way to preserve or create new units for affordable housing all the way at 30% AMI, that we were able to provide an opportunity at another project to support that. But Mr. McBride, your point is well taken that we need to do more to support these type of projects and identify resources to accomplish that. I am in more conversations with MHDC about the state La Tech programs and how we can more collaborate on these projects moving forward. So we would definitely keep this board abreast on those conversations.
Thank you.
Thank you. So with that, I would like to entertain a motion to approve resolution number 25 SLDC 997.
So move McBride.
Second, Clark Hubbard.
With a motion and a second, can I have a roll call vote?
Director Arnold,
Aye.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard,
Aye.
Director Gilbert,
Aye.
Director McBride.
Aye.
Alderwoman Sonier,
Aye.
Director Reed.
Aye.
And Chair Richardson.
Aye. With all present voting aye, the motion passes to approve resolution number 25 SLDC 997. The next item on the agenda is resolution number 25 SLDC 998, authorizing the extension of an agreement with the St. Louis Public School District for the use of facilities adjacent to the Sumner High School as an economic empowerment center for an additional 1 year. I'll pass it over to Ms. Stacy Fowler for the presentation today. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, Board of Directors. I am back before you this morning to extend our current agreement that we have with St. Louis Public Schools. Just want to give you a few numbers of how well we've been doing. As of January 9th of 2025, we started our 3rd year at this location, and we would like to be able to stay here until the end of this year, hopefully, that we will be able to get into our new Monarch location. We have served over 3,500 plus residents that have come in our doors since we've been open, and we served over 2,000 businesses, helping them with capacity building, business plans, technical assistance, building social media and their websites, doing anything that we can possibly do to help those businesses be successful in the past couple of years. And so we're asking for this extension of the agreement to take us to the end of December of 2025. And that will be a cost not to exceed $110,000. And we will be using ARPA funds to continue this process. We feel that we are making a great impact working with the residents and the businesses that are coming to the center. And we would like your permission to get into, to extend this agreement for another year with the public schools. And I'll entertain any questions you may have.
Director Gilbert.
Yes, I just wanted to say I've heard nothing but great things about what you're doing, and being in that location puts you right in the middle of the community. So I, support this wholeheartedly. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Gilbert.
Alderwoman Sonier.
Similarly to Director Gilbert, I just really wanted to highlight that I've heard good work, and I'm glad that this agreement has come. I was curious about just the timeline of the contract and approval, but I'm really excited to see this partnership with SLPS, and I've also heard great things about the facility and think that it's a great idea for us to start exploring dual usage of many of our school locations, since they don't have as many students as they need to and still need a lot of support operationally. So I'm glad to see this partnership.
Thank you, Director Sonier.
So I think she had maybe one question in there around the term of the contract. Is that right, Alderwoman Sonier? Okay.
Oh, yes, the term would be from basically January 1 to December 31 of 2025.
And just for context, we were awaiting approval from the SLPS Board of Directors and approval from their Director of Facilities before we move this forward. So that's why this is a little delayed before the board today. But as Ms. Fowler noted, we have already allocated ARPA funds to support the ongoing operations at the Northside Economic Empowerment Center. But before we brought it before this board, we wanted to ensure that, there was formal approval at the St. Louis Public Schools Board of Education, which they have provided their approval now through their real estate committee as well as their full board. And we have received confirmation from their Director of Operations and Facilities. So That's why we see this coming in February, even though the term is from January 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2025.
Thank you. And that was what my question was around. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard.
Thank you, Director. I just did not want to also miss the opportunity to commend you, Ms. Fowler, and your staff for the work that you all do over there. Every time I've entered that space, there's been a warm welcome. There's been smiles. There have been people that feels like they are being heard. That is important, especially in that historicville area. This is one of the things that I fought for when we were doing these kind of programming and things down here, because as a former entrepreneur in the city of St. Louis, I knew the struggles and challenges myself. So I wish there was a Northside Economic Empowerment Center back 20 years ago when I had businesses here in the city. And again, I just want to continue to offer publicly not only my admiration, but my support in the work that you all are doing at the Northside Economic Empowerment Center. Keep it up. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll pay everybody for all the plugs that you gave me after the meeting.
I better say something then, huh?
I was like, wow.
Great job.
No, thank you, Stacy. And just for the context for this, for the public as well, the Northside Economic Empowerment Center serves the entire city of St. Louis and the businesses there. We also work in close partnership with our Business Assistance Center at City Hall as well. So as businesses are coming to City Hall, we help them navigate various city offices, ranging from the license collector office, collector of revenue, and as you know, we've been trying to disperse grant programs. Businesses who have questions on their CBI clearance, they go to the Business Assistance Center, and we actually give them the white glove service and a chaperone to those various offices. So again, Stacy, thank you and your team for all the work that you do to serve our businesses in the city of St. Louis.
Thank you.
With that, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve resolution number 25 SLDC 998.
Moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call vote.
Request previous roll.
Previous row has been requested. Any objections to previous row? Hearing none, the motion passes to approve resolution number 25 SLDC 998. The next item on the agenda is resolution number 25 SLDC 999, authorizing execution of a grant agreement with the St. Louis Community Foundation and authorizing execution of an amendment to the professional service agreement with Mission Driven Finance LLC. So Ms. Stephanie Greasy will be providing the presentation today. Stephanie?
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me today. Resolution 25 SLDC 999 requests authorization to execute 2 contracts to support the ongoing work of the Economic Justice Accelerator. The first is a service agreement with Mission Driven Finance in the amount of $150,000 to conduct phase 2 of their work on the Accelerator Fund. And the second is a grant agreement with St. Louis Community Foundation to fund the MDF contract. In the second phase of contracts on the Accelerator, we will manage and administer the fund that's been designed under the original agreements, including completing the design, finalizing the structure, and marketing the product to the public. For background, in 2023, SLDC launched the Economic Justice Accelerator to attract and leverage $1 billion in public, private, and philanthropic capital to the city of St. Louis to invest in catalytic projects led by targeted business owners and developers in strategic neighborhoods and in programs. The goal of the accelerator is to create economic mobility and develop products to provide access to capital for all to thrive. Mission Driven Finance is a specialized impact investment advisory firm, and they were selected through a competitive process to research, design, and finalize a model to establish a fund that would help advance SLDC's identified priorities. In July of 2024, under Resolution 24 SLDC 958, the board authorized the CEO of SLDC to execute the first phase of the contract. So the $50,000 contract with MDF and a $50,000 contract with St. Louis Community Foundation for a grant agreement. Again, the purpose of those contracts was to research, analyze, and evaluate potential structures for this fund. During phase 1, MDF, the Community Foundation, SLDC, and our partners at Accelerator for America conducted a number of interviews and conversations with developers across the city. banks and other financial institutions, and philanthropic partners to evaluate the needs, the opportunities, and also the barriers facing this fund. After months of due diligence, MDF and SLDC have outlined a scalable and replicable guarantee facility model that expands access to capital for community-driven developers who have traditionally been excluded from financing opportunities. The model utilizes a loan guarantee to facilitate access to the New Markets Tax Credit Program and to traditional bank capital to finance housing development in distressed communities. This innovative guarantee structure provides access to safe and affordable capital for developers who may not have the balance sheets to receive loans from traditional financial institutions. The unmet demand for traditional capital will be satisfied through this facility, while also allowing traditional financial institutions to mitigate the perceived risks to credit policy and to regulatory compliance. SLDC's use of ARPA funds has served as a model for how to efficiently manage a fund like this, and we're excited to leverage it further through the accelerator. Under the second phase of work, SLDC and MDF will design, finalize, and market the guarantee facility identified in phase 1. The full timeframe for phase 2 is attached to the resolution, but just as a high-level summary, initial program design is already underway, and the expectation is that we will get to have a marketing data room available for the fund, which will hold the promotional deck, the model, governance documents, credit policy, a charter for governance structure, an operational flow chart, and also the relevant legal documents by the end of May. That would conclude phase 2 of the engagement. So that's the proposal in summary. Oh, happy to receive questions. Otherwise, we appreciate your support of this effort and of this resolution.
Thank you, Stephanie, for that great presentation and overview. And just for context, the funds that are going to mission-driven finance, the reason why we need to have this agreement with St. Louis Community Foundation is for us to receive the funds to then pay mission-driven finance for conducting the work. I think this is, again, a great testament to our ability to not just bring public dollars or leverage SLDC operational funds for the purpose of creating these new innovative initiatives and programs, but also creating opportunities in a vehicle for our philanthropic community to contribute towards our economic justice efforts. And that's exactly what's being achieved here today, is having a philanthropic arm of the work come in and contribute funds without having to, again, leverage, utilize any public dollars, and really putting those public dollars in the hands of right into the community and investing those dollars into the community and being able to leverage the philanthropic dollars to help us create a sustainable program that can be put in at scale across the city. So with that, I'll pass it over to Director Gilbert. I see your hand raised, ma'am.
Yeah, I've just wondered if we've received any additional donations to this fund. I know initially we got some funding from MasterCard. Is that the money we're using now to pay for this, or are there been some other deposits creating this fund?
Yeah, so we've had some small individual deposits in the form of like $15, $20, but we also received a commitment of $1.5 million across 3 years. This was it's the second year into that 3-year period. So we have received actually in hand $1 million from other contributions through the St. Louis Community Foundation to support these overall efforts. And that's come in the form of anonymous donors as well as other foundations that have contributed to this fund to support this overall effort. So it's been more than just MasterCard. So I would say our total fundraise has been about $2.5 million of philanthropic funds, which have really helped us with the operations and support for standing many of these programs up today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, great. Hearing none, I would like to entertain a motion to approve resolution number 25 SLDC 999.
So move McBride, request previous role.
Second.
With a request for previous role in a second, any objections to previous role? Abstentions? Okay, hearing none, the motion passes to approve resolution number 25 SLDC 999. The next item on the agenda is resolution number 25 SLDC 1000, adopting a short list for photography and videography services. I'll pass it back over to Stephanie.
Hey everyone, this resolution adopts a short list of qualified photography and videography professionals and firms to support SLDC's communications and marketing efforts. The 10 respondents recommended will capture impactful visuals and craft compelling stories highlighting SLDC's community engagement, development initiatives, and organizational impact. As a reminder, in 2021, SLDC underwent a significant rebranding effort in partnership with Candid. That rebranding also included launching a new website and a reinvestment in SLDC's social media platforms. In 2024, SLDC hired a VP of Communications and Public Affairs to increase its capacity to tell important stories from the perspectives of the people and communities we serve. Given our active engagement across the city, the marketing and communications team wanted to generate a roster of photographers and videographers who could capture SLDC's community engagement in real time and otherwise help SLDC advance its marketing and communications strategy on the ground. The SLDC Board of Directors approved the initiation of a selection process by Resolution 24 SLDC 984, adopted on December 19th. The request for proposals authorized that the resolution be published, or was authorized by that resolution and was published on December 23rd. We received over 30 submissions, which was very exciting. That submission window was open until January 17th. And then we convened a selection committee to review the proposals, review the submissions in a really inclusive and open way. The goal was not to get ourselves down to a specific number, but to identify as many firms as we could that best represented the city and best aligned with SLDC's goals and objectives. One or more contracts may be awarded as a result of the selection process as appropriate to meet the needs of SLDC. We wanted to make sure being on the shortlist is not a guarantee of engagement, but an opportunity to be considered for engagement in the future. Again, we were excited to receive 30 submissions in response to the RFQ. We ultimately selected 10. Alex Dawn Media Group, Andrea Ellen Reed Productions, Brandon Knott Productions, Church Productions, Dana Christian, also known as Breaking the 180, Jalen Collier from Curry Street, Kiara Lewis from Metropolitan Strategies and Solutions, Kim Love, who's been a longtime media partner for SLDC, Megan Anselm from Saves the Day, and Timothy Moore from Doorhouse. As part of the vetting process, we have submitted all 10 of the recommended firms for CBI review. 8 of the 10 have cleared, 2 are in process right now. Further shout out to Stacy's team. The team Aretha over at the BAC has been so responsive, in some cases turning CBIs same day. So we've been very grateful for that. It's been helpful as we've moved through this process. 9 of the 10 recommended firms are located in St. Louis and have a strong presence here with deep profiles that represent their connection to community. The one that is outside of St. Louis also has done very meaningful work here in the city. And so we felt comfortable recommending them for approval, even though they were not located here. And again, all 10 that we have identified have profiles that again show their ability to provide photography and videography support, photo and video editing, social media content development and support, and then that visual storytelling that we're really excited to expand. So thank you so much for considering our recommendation. I'm happy to field any questions at this time.
Thank you, Stephanie. Any questions from the board today about this RFQ? Okay. Any other questions? Not hearing none. I would like to entertain a motion to approve resolution number 25 SLDC 1000. A request for previous role?
Objection.
Objection. Okay. Can I have a roll call vote, please?
Director Arnold,
Aye.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard,
Abstain.
Director Gilbert,
Aye.
Director McBride,
Yeah.
Alderwoman Saunier,
Aye.
Director Reed,
Aye.
and Chair Richardson.
Aye. With the majority present voting aye, the motion passes to approve resolution number 25 SLDC 1000. The next item on the agenda is resolution number 25 SLDC 1001, approving funding awards for St. Louis Main Streets program and authorizing the development, negotiation, and execution of a grant agreement between SLDC and each funded Main Street district. Pass it back over to Stephanie.
Hi, everyone. This resolution authorizes SLDC to award an aggregate of $350,000 to 3 St. Louis Main Street programs to fund their operations, administration, and program delivery, including the establishment of broken windows programs in their districts. As a reminder, under one of its many economic development efforts, SLDC supports Missouri's accredited Main Street Connection program, which is a comprehensive downtown revitalization program launched in 1977 by the National Trust for Historic Preservation. In 2019, the Missouri Main Street Connection established the St. Louis Main Street program, which combined their traditional Main Street approach with the Urban Main program to guide comprehensive revitalization efforts in the 3 designated pilot areas. In 2023, Missouri Main Street Connection identified an opportunity for stronger public-private partnership with each Main Street district to accomplish their specific goals and priorities in both the short and long term. Given SLDC's ongoing commitment to the Missouri Main Street Connection and the St. Louis Main Streets program, SLDC board authorized the publication of a notice of funding opportunity on December 19th, 2024, pursuant to resolution 24 SLDC 985 to support the 3 designated Main Street districts in the city. That's Delmar Main Street, Dutchtown Main Streets, and Laclede's Landing Main Street. The funding opportunity was designed to help each district's operational, administrative, and programmatic needs, with special emphasis put on the development and implementation of broken windows programs within each district's boundaries that would support businesses in the district as well as adjacent neighborhoods that impact the overall success of the district. SLDC published the NOFA on December 23rd. Submissions were received until January 17th. And then we convened a selection committee internally, consistent with our review procedures, to make funding recommendations to the board. The committee recommended funding Dutchtown and Delmar Main Streets at $130,000 each, and Laclede's Landing at $90,000. This is consistent with the scoring allocation and the businesses served by each of the districts. And that is the recommendation I'm presenting for consideration. Thank you for your time. Happy to take any questions.
Stephanie, can you go in a little bit more detail on the scoring process? And, why we had some scored 97 and all the way down to 89?
Yeah, sure. So we had, we developed a scorecard for the process that had a number of questions, some objective, some subjective. So we, of course, put a page limit in. We had certain pieces of content that we were looking for. On the cover letter, we were looking for each of the respondents to summarize their experience, their skills, their approach to the downtown revitalization, how they would build out the Broken Windows program. We also asked for information about the organization's capacity. So a description of the organization, verification of their status as a certified Main Street district, and their ability to provide the services and develop the programs and operational, enhancements that were contemplated in the funding announcement. We also asked for an explanation of how the funds would be used, including budgets, kind of implementation plans, and the like. And we did ask for information around staffing. And we also asked questions about MWBE engagement. So that was where in the scoring, we actually saw quite a bit of variation. We did ask each of the organizations to describe their MWBE participation, how MWBE firms would be used to carry out the opportunities in the NOFA, and then to give their statement about compliance with prevailing wage. So that's where we actually saw most of the variety in the scoring. And then also in just, again, overall organizational capacity to support the use of funds that were contemplated in the NOFA. So hopefully that answers your question. Let me know if you need more.
No, that's perfect, Stephanie. Thank you so much. Any other questions from the directors? Okay, great. Hearing none, I would like to entertain a motion to approve resolution number 25 SLDC 1001.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Can I have a roll call vote, please?
Director Arnold,
Aye.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard,
Aye.
Director Gilbert,
Aye.
Director McBride,
Aye.
Alderwoman Sonier,
Aye.
Director Reed,
Aye.
and Chair Richardson.
Aye. With all present voting aye, the motion passes to approve resolution number 25 SLDC 1001. The next item on the agenda is resolution number 25 SLDC 1002, authorizing execution of a contract with Levy Consulting Services doing business as Levy Consulting Company to provide training services in calendar year 2025 to the SLDC staff. I'll pass it over to Ms. Stephanie Greasy for her final presentation for the day.
So thank you so much. This resolution authorizes SLDC to enter into an agreement with Levy Consulting Services in an amount not to exceed $2,500 to provide two 45 to 60-minute training sessions to SLDC staff in accordance with our newly established learning and development program. For background, SLDC and Levy Consulting have worked together since August of 2022, when the firm was first hired to evaluate SLDC's internal processes and procedures, to identify opportunities to increase employee productivity and to increase employee engagement. Among other supportive services, Levy Consulting conducted a number of listening sessions to gather employee feedback on topics including opportunities for growth and development. Leveraging that feedback and in partnership with Levy, SLDC leadership developed a comprehensive learning and development platform for SLDC staff that's designed to help employees navigate SLDC systems and structures and advance their technical skills. The learning and development platform includes content for all employees, from newly onboarded to seasoned veterans. And SLDC leverages SLDC Gateway, our intranet platform, to distribute training resources, allow people to sign up for upcoming training sessions, and engage with content created through the programs. Under the contract with SLDC that was approved in July of 2024, Levy led or co-led 3 of the 7 training sessions that we offered in 2024. Of course, that contract expired at the end of December. And so by this resolution, we would like to engage Levy under this limited scope contract to co-lead 2 additional training sessions in 2025 for a total cost, again, of $2,500. The price quoted by Levy is in line with industry standards, and the authority to enter into an agreement with Levy, an amount not to exceed $2,500, is requested by this resolution. Before I ask for full consideration of the resolution, I did want to share a short update on one of the technology updates that Levy did help us stand up, and that again is critical for delivering our learning and development tools, and that is Xero. So if you don't mind, I'm going to try to share my screen. Okay, and I believe will Neil, will you confirm you can see my?
Yeah, we can see it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So again, as you know, we started the process with Xero back in 2023. We had Levy conduct a kind of a review process and identify a software tool for us to build out an intranet. And the goal of the intranet was to, among many other things, enhance communication across the organization, create some consistency in documentation and resources that were available. So here's just a quick summary of what Xero is for us. We have renamed it SLDC Gateway, and SLDC Gateway is an implementation of that Xero integrated intranet platform that we approved back in September of 2023. It's used to improve communications, operational efficiency, cross-functional knowledge sharing. It's a one-stop source for a ton of information, including information about employee benefits and the learning and development module. And then it's the exclusive source of content for certain org-wide information. So we're not going to, it'll take some steps to have that be the exclusive source for everything. But there are certain tools and resources that we only push out through Gateway. It's also, ultimately will allow us to make quicker decisions, have less redundancy, and just overall be more effective. So on the screen here is where we were with Gateway back in October of 2024. We did a soft launch of the tool. We worked with Levy and did a number of training sessions for folks to kind of understand how the content worked. And then at the end of December and into January, we made a number of enhancements to the program. This is our new kind of landing page. It's got its own logo. It navigates more like you would see on a regular website with a navigation bar there along the top. We have a recognition wall, which was one of the things we were excited to add to this. This is a way for folks to go in and celebrate their peers, whether they're having a career milestone or a birthday, or if they've demonstrated one of the 8 core values of the organization. They can go here to the recognition wall, they can post it, everybody in the group can see it, and it's just a nice way to give, you know, kind of shout outs and accolades to people in real time. We also have this great org chart feature, and that was something that I noticed when I first started. It's like, where's the org chart? Who reports to whom? How, you know, how is everything laid out? And so we were able, through SLDC Gateway, to have this interactive org chart. People can put their pictures and bios in there, and then you can immediately see where everyone sits. If there's a new person to the organization, you can see what they look like, and then say hello when you pass them in the hall. So this has been a great feature to add. This is a snapshot of one of the team pages. So every team in the organization has their own setup in Gateway. This is a neighborhood transformation team. They've been doing a great job of writing articles about what they're doing in community and then sharing them here on Gateway. So I like to put their page out as an example of kind of how to really maximize our investment in this tool. This is a learning and development hub. And again, this is kind of the link to the Levy request. All of our trainings are available here on the learning and development hub. And what's great about this resource is that if you go to a session and you get an email with the recording, right? Or you get an email with the deck and you forget to save it, or you lose track of when it happened, you don't have to worry about keeping the emails. You bookmark the hub, you can come back here and you can see all of the resources. You can get the video, you can download the slides, you can interact with the people who presented the session. It's all available in one space. And so again, lots of celebration for the Levy team for helping us get to this point. All of these resources that are here on the right side of the screen under the pages, all of those trainings are all new things that we've done just since August of last year. You'll also, for the lawyers in the group, you may or may not find this interesting, we do have formal training around the procurement process. And then we also have a quarterly training on sunshine law compliance, which is also a new tool. We push it out, kind of all new employees have to go to it so that everybody understands how that works. So the Learning and Development Hub has been getting a lot of activity. For anybody who likes graphics, this is structurally how it looks. This is the site map. So this gives you a sense of how much content is out on the page. And a lot of this content is new in the last month or two. This is a quick timeline of where we are, how far we've come along in this process. It's been really exciting to get this off the ground and get this into, you know, a format that's accessible and usable for everyone. Quick summary is my last slide here. What's now, what's next? Available now, we've got personalized team spaces and profiles for everyone. We use broadcast, which is like an email to the whole organization. There's chat functionality. Everybody in the organization can write articles, they can write blogs, they can create content in real time. We have a searchable version of our employee handbook, and we also have all of our employee benefits resources available right on the site. I showed you the learning and development resources, and I showed you the recognition information. We're working next on an integrated internal calendar so that all of the big activities that are happening in the organization will be available and visible in one spot on Gateway. That's been, again, something that folks have been asking for quite some time. And so we're looking forward to getting over that technical hump there. Discussion groups are another thing that we're thinking about how to integrate most effectively into Gateway. And we really want to promote and encourage communication, and also, you know, discussion groups can get a mind of their own. So we want to think about how to balance some of that. And then having it be the exclusive source for many SLDC documents is a goal. So I think that's all I have on that. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. And again, we wanted to show the Xero implementation to you all, again, because Levy really was instrumental in getting that up and running. They ran the vetting of the potential vendors, and Jonathan in particular kind of held the tool while it was in draft form and then delivered all of the trainings to our team once we were ready to go with the soft launch. So I'd love to continue working with them on these 2 additional trainings in the spring. One would be about cross-functional collaboration, so working across teams. And the other one is about cross-training, so learning how your teammates do their jobs, learning how other groups in the organization do their jobs. And that is it.
Thank you, Stephanie. That was a great presentation to highlight, the work that's happening internally. I know, again, the board here approves many of our contracts for us to execute, and now to see the fruits of that labor and that hard work that's been conducted is terrific. I think the feedback that we've gotten from our SLDC employees and staff prior to us rolling out this program was around not having connectivity or understanding what other departments were doing. How is everyone getting the same information? But then also, as we are increasing our activity, how are we ensuring that everyone is being trained in the very same way and getting the resources they need to be successful, and having that learning hub and being able to have required training materials allow for us to have some governance and some checks and balances to ensure that all of our employees are getting the same information and are implementing the work according to our bylaws and our policies. So thank you again, Stephanie, for that great presentation. I would like to open it up to any of the members of the Board of Directors to ask any questions or provide any comments. I would like to recognize Alderwoman Alicia Sanier, your hand.
Thank you. I just was curious, could you explain a little bit more about the interactive chat component and kind of what those communications would look like? I often think those are some of the best results of updating our websites and technologies, because it just kind of, on the face, in the moment, instant interaction is kind of where people are in the digital age. So I just wanted more information on that to be on the record.
Yeah, sure. So we are early to this stage of the chat. So right now, the way I have received interactions from people in the chat is, Stephanie, this isn't working properly, or that's not working properly, which is fine, right? And one day where we had probably the highest engagement was a Friday afternoon where I was testing out a discussion group function, and I learned in real time that everyone was getting my test posts in the discussion thing. So, and everyone was like, oh, I received this, or here's what I'm up to right now. So there are a lot of opportunities for us to leverage this in an exciting way. We're thinking about using it to gather kind of questions about Gateway, having the questions and answers be more public facing, questions about technology, interacting after a particular training session. Those are all ways that we're hoping to use this. It's still relatively new, but from my perspective, having the chat and the discussion forums is going to be great, and also having a person who's responsible for kind of monitoring and making sure questions get answered and making sure that the organization's code of conduct and all that is still being followed will be part of the balance. So more to come.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay. Hearing none, I would like to entertain a motion to approve resolution number 25 SLDC 1002.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second, roll call vote.
Director Arnold,
Aye.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard,
Aye.
Director Gilbert,
Aye.
Director McBride,
Aye.
Alderwoman Saunier,
Aye.
Director Reed.
Aye.
And Chair Richardson.
Aye. With all present voting aye, the motion passes to approve resolution number 25 SLDC 1002. Stephanie, thanks again for the great presentations today and helping move our internal operations forward and creating a better quality of job opportunities for our organization and our staff and a better experience for them. I know we've seen some great satisfaction and appreciation for the hard work of the operations team to support our staff. So thank you and your team for all that you do. The next item on the agenda is resolution number 25, SLDC 1003, supplemental resolution authorizing SLDC to execute grant agreements and disperse grants from the North St. Louis Small Business and Nonprofit Program to eligible businesses and nonprofits for operational expansion efforts. With that, I'll pass it over to Ms. Lorna Alexander. I think we have expansion before we have stabilization, so I'll let you go first on that.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair Richardson, and good morning, directors. So supplemental resolution 1003 requests authorization for SLDC, more specifically, to disperse funds to 27 businesses that have been fully vetted under the operational expansion program. These businesses are highlighted in yellow, 3 of them in blue because they received we're requesting approval for community enhancement for those 3 as well. In your packets, the total amount of the awards to these businesses will be $940,000. Their individual award amounts are highlighted in yellow as well. This will bring, upon your approval, 119 businesses that would have received operational expansion awards through that program. And we're excited about that. There's a remaining 45 approximately that still have not received clearance from the collector of revenue and the license collector's office. Notices will go out to those 45 because we're hoping to get everyone before the board by the March meeting. So notices will go out to those businesses tomorrow to let them know that they've been rejected by both of the offices, and they'll have until around March 15th to clear up those rejections so that we can present them in March. So with that, I'll open it up to any questions from the board.
And Lorna, just as a point of clarification, so for those 45 businesses, they have been vetted, but they just haven't been able to get that CBI clearance from the license collector or the collector of revenue. And so we're going to give them.
So 43 have been vetted. 2 of them are getting visits in the next couple of days.
Okay.
Yes, but correct.
So we would have vetted all of the operational expansion businesses. We just down to the last 2 now. And then once we come back in March, we will close out the expansion awards. Either they will be 100% awarded or rescinded based on that CBI clearance. I think for edification for the public as well as the board here, we've been working with these businesses through the Northside Economic Empowerment Center, through the Business Assistance Center to get the CBI clearance done for all of the businesses. And if they're not able to get this done now, at this point, it's time to move on. And again, they've been able to verify all the other matters, but in order to ensure that we're doing our diligence, they have to clear that CBI. So we're trying to do all we can to support the businesses, but also we have to ensure that we meet our obligations of expending all of the funds before September 30th of 2026, so we can get these dollars fully expended. Any questions on the expansion projects? Okay. Hearing none, I would like to entertain a motion to approve resolution number 25 SLDC 1003.
So move.
Second.
The motion and second, can I have a roll call vote?
Director Arnold,
Aye.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard,
Abstain.
Director Gilbert,
Aye.
Director McBride,
Aye.
Alderwoman Sonier,
Aye.
Director Reed,
Aye.
and Chair Richardson.
Aye. With the majority present voting aye, the motion passes to approve resolution number 25 SLDC 1003. The next item is resolution number 25 SODC 1004, supplemental resolution for our small business and nonprofit program for eligible businesses and nonprofits for business stabilization efforts.
So,
I think you're good. Go ahead.
so supplemental resolution 1004 requests authorization to disperse funds to 2 additional businesses under the stabilization program. As you recall, the stabilization grants were the first ones to go out. That was the non-competitive program under the grant, and the majority of those awards went out in the summer of last year. There were still a couple who businesses who are still trying to clear up their CBI clearance. So and so as they come in, we do then award them the funds and request your approval to disperse them. As like with the operational expansion grants, there's still about 10 businesses that requested that they be considered for stabilization initially that have not cleared CBI, and like those under the operational expansion, they will receive notice tomorrow that they too must clear up any tax or license issues, or their funds will be rescinded in March.
These are just 2 businesses. Any questions, comments, concerns about this resolution? Hearing none, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve resolution number 25 SLDC 1004.
So moved, Arnold.
Second, Gilbert.
Motion and second, roll call vote.
Director Arnold,
Aye.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard,
Abstain.
Director Gilbert,
Aye.
Director McBride,
Aye.
Alderwoman Sonier,
Aye.
Director Reed,
Aye.
and Chair Richardson.
Aye. With the majority present voting aye, the motion passes to approve resolution number 25 1004. The next item on the agenda is resolution number 25 SODC 1005. This is for authorization for SODC to execute grant agreements and disperse grants from the North St. Louis Small Business and Nonprofit Program to eligible businesses and nonprofits for community enhancement projects, and that's inclusive of our facade program as well. With that, I'll pass it back over to Mr. Dylan Holliam, who will provide an overview of the various projects that's being taken for your consideration today, and to answer any questions that the board may have around any of these important projects. So I'll pass it back over to you, Dylan. Look like you're getting set up.
Set up good after morning again. See y'all again. 1 second. Okay. No, I just my reference. Let me pull up my stuff. Here we go. All right. Good morning again. Dylan Holliam, Citywide Housing Strategist. I am before you requesting authorization to execute grant agreements and disperse grant funds for the Community Enhancement Grant Awards to the North St. Louis Small Business and Nonprofit Grant Program. Conditionally approved awardees that have been vetted for program eligibility in viability and received clearance from the St. Louis City Collector of Revenue and License Collector's Office. I do want to provide just a little bit of background, not more so about the resolution that you guys know about, but more so about the due diligence process. And one second. And so we have, myself and the compliance team have been reviewing the community enhancement facade projects in relation to the applications for the North St. Louis Grant Program. And so what that looks like is we sit down with these businesses upon reviewing their application. We walk them through what the community impact they want to have, essentially reviewing their application and seeing what the proposed project they want. They've identified or they've asked, right, a certain amount of the award. In that case, what we do is based off of the conditionally awarded dollar amount, we must essentially value engineer or right size to help them come up with a new viable project. So for example, if a company asks for $5 million, but they were awarded $1 million, then we need to walk through what that new program would look like and how that program would satisfy not only ARPA stipulations by being complete in the timeline, but also through the actual eligibility of the project functions or the program functions. So we've gone through that with each of the businesses before you today to really provide an updated, an updated list for you. And so even just to take one more step back, we presented two projects before you that will not go before you today simply because of CBI clearances. And I just want to, well, one because of CBI clearance and another because of just an active things happening that we can't really move forward right now. And those two projects are Sweetie Pies and Kingsway Development LLC. And so I do want to make that note for you as we're going through this process. And so I guess one of the best things to do is just to jump right in to look at each project, right?
Yeah, the first one we have before us is First Choice Home Healthcare. Dylan on our list, so if you could just give a quick overview of the project, the original project budget, what they're using the $50,000 for would be helpful.
Yeah, so you also have a board packet in front of you. I do want to kind of take another step back. And I want to kind of let you know that, this is just a snapshot of of the review process. And so this isn't comprehensive. And I know I've received a good substantial amount of questions regarding kind of sources and uses or committed funds or things like that. I want to let you know going forward, I will be providing that information for you, whether it be budgets, sources of uses, committed funds, committed letters, those things, so that you have a full understanding and you're not just looking at numbers on a page. And so the first project is First Choice Home Healthcare. The business address 5626. The economic justice alignment filter out of 100, they scored 88 points. The economic justice impact evaluation, they scored 25 points out of 40 points. The total score out of 140 was 113.3. The economic justice action plan goals, the average score out of 20 was 20. The economic justice index rating was 8. The aligned demonstration area was 10. The aligned priority, new priority corridor was 10. They originally requested $78,000. We conditionally awarded them $50,000. They've adjusted, we've walked with them again through that process. They've adjusted their budget to $56,800. with $6,800 in leveraged or committed funds. The First Choice Home Healthcare LLC is a home healthcare agency business specializing in long-term and short-term care assistance for the elderly and for individuals with disabilities. They serve mainly the greater St. Louis metropolitan and surrounding county areas. Services enable individuals to remain in the comfort of their home rather than opt into a nursing facility or hospital. The location currently is primarily used as an office space for housing and safely securing all required documents and paperwork authorized by the state of Missouri. The funds, I kind of skip through. The funds will allow them to improve the exterior appearance of the building, which will increase property value in community that needs revitalization. This includes adding a fence, cutting down trees, installing LED lighting, and transforming the space into a bright, positive, noticeable asset to the neighborhood. This would also make the business more viable in attracting clients and ensuring residents don't have to travel long distance for quality health care. And then also that they would like to create with these funds safer parking for clients, attendees, and visitors, eliminating the need for street parking in an area where speeding and reckless driving are common. These improvements will directly contribute to the safety and convenience of the clients while making a business a source of hope and pride for the community. They own the adjacent house that's literally right next door. The demolishing of that is around $20,000. The fence is around 10. Laying the asphalt is around 16,000. Vehicle ports is around 10, leading to the total amount of 56,800. The total grant amount that we've given him was $50,000 with 6,800, excuse me, remaining that is committed. Any questions?
Questions on First Choice? Okay, let's keep going. Annie Malone.
Okay. Annie Malone, Children and Family Services. This Annie Malone will be using these funds for ADA updates. Address at 2612 Annie Malone Drive. The economic justice alignment filter scored at a 70. The 40-point, the economic justice impact evaluation out of 40 scored a 24, and a total out of 140 was a 94. The aligned project impact scores, the economic justice action plan goals, they arrived at a 20 out of a 20. The economic justice index rating was a 10. The aligned demonstration area, 0. Aligned priority corridor, 0. Annie Malone originally requested $7.4 million. The original project budget was $7.4 million, and they requested around $5,896,000. They were conditionally awarded $1 million. Therefore, we needed to get them to adjust that budget to $1 million, right? And so essentially, as the project scope changed, and they are not able to do the full scope of work for the shell, for the envelope, excuse me. And so what they've committed to do with GNP is to perform work on the roof. And so Annie Malone has been a cornerstone for the St. Louis community since 1888. In the early 1900s, Annie Malone completed a renovation project and opened a residential care facility and was rebranded in 1993. Now, over 30 years, the Annie Malone Children and Family Center urgently needs renovations. Originally going out for $15 million, the project has been adjusted for $1 million. The funding is crucial for the essential upgrades to preserve the historic integrity of the building and ensure a safe environment for everybody. The scope of work includes roof and masonry repairs. The specific budget allocations are around $200,000 for labor, $250,000 for roof repair, and around $550 for tuck pointing repairs, ensuring that compliance with MWBE guidelines. Upon receiving the community enhancement grant, the project will remove at the allotted schedule. Preserving the historic building is essential not only to honor the heritage, but to sustain its role in the community.
Thank you. On Annie Malone, I just want to put a special plug in that, you know, the $1 million is a small piece to their overall project, but I know it will help sustain this, the integrity of the building while they raise other funds to support the ongoing operations of the project. So thank you, Dylan, for that. Boys and Girls Club.
Boys and Girls Club. Oh, is there a hand? Is that for Annie Malone?
Alderwoman Sanye. Sorry. it's
If
you.
it's more helpful, I can wait till the end.
No, go ahead and ask your question if it's specifically about the scoring or the project itself.
Yeah, just I think it's good to clarify, especially with Eddie Malone, because there's a lot of discussion going on with them in regards to the annual parade being canceled. Just good to clarify what the actual use of these funds are, that they're for the renovation of the project. And also, I just wanted to make sure that it was on the record that it's a historic building that I think basically what I saw was that it hadn't received any significant renovations in about 30 years. And just go on record too and make sure that people understand that a core component of the work that Eddie Malone does is to provide support for unhoused children. And so just wanted to highlight that and put those things on record and make sure that clarification was there. And then I guess this could be a question to be spoken to, but I also noticed that there was a number of projects on the list that went in and kind of rescoped their project, did a rescope and a reevaluation of their project to ensure that they would be able to comply with the timeline. And Eddie Malone was one of those projects. And I think it's good to put that on record and just kind of have someone speak a little bit more to that, because I've seen a lot of questions and concerns about allocation funding timelines. So I think it's important to highlight the work that's being done to reevaluate that and make sure that the timelines and the project goals are feasible.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they unfortunately, you know, we weren't able to award them their full ask. But we do want to be committed to this project because of the work they do. And just like Director Neal said, you know, it is a small, drop in the bucket, but we do think this is a good first step for them to even garner additional funding opportunities to assist with that. We do understand that that is a historic building, right? And so improvements, you know, are going to look different than any other regular building. We're going to have to engage with the state historic preservation offices and all kind of endeavors to make sure that we are doing the proper improvements for the space. So yeah, I think this is just one first step to show our commitment to this, and I think yeah, if there was greater opportunity for us to explore how else we can do it, I would love to have that conversation. But yeah, and the rescoping, I worked with Keisha and her team around the rescoping of what they wanted. It was arduous. It was tough, just because, you know, it's a big scale down. It's a big scale down. And so we wanted to ensure that we could do the highest and best use with these dollars in terms of the roofing and the tuck pointing with the funds, ensuring that, right, these because it's over $1 million, we know stipulations will have. So how can we account for wages, proper wages for the project, but also the proper budget to support the actual work that will be needed. And so they identified that the roof and the tuck pointing were the two things that they wanted to explore first, to capture the envelope, to improve the envelope, and then to start to work on some of the other improvements. I think you muted.
Sorry, I just wanted to go, just thank you for, and anyone else who was involved in the tedious work of rescoping the programs. And I just wanted to make sure that it was on record that people knew that a lot of these projects, they had to go back in and rescope and adjust their, adjust their proposal to ensure compliance with, the timing and the execution of the full development project. And I just think that's really important that we make sure we're sharing that information with the public, because there's a lot of concerns, again, about the feasibility and our ability to allocate the funds and for the projects to happen within a certain timeline. So I want anyone who might be watching to know that there was a lot of tedious work to be done with multiple of these projects to make sure that the plan, the redevelopment plan, is a feasible one that matches up with the timeline and makes sense with the allocation amount.
Thank you.
Let's keep rolling. Boys and Girls Club.
Herbert Hoover Boys and Girls Club, community enhancement. The project name is PGA Reach Youth and Community Complex. The economic justice alignment filter out of 100 was 93. The economic justice impact evaluation out of 40 was 36.7. The total score out of 140, I don't have it up here, I'm sorry.
129.7.
Yeah.
129.7. Okay, thank you. Excuse me, let me go back. Okay. You can use this. Oh, okay. Okay, perfect. The aligned project impact, the economic justice action plan goals, average score was 20 out of 20. The economic justice index rating, the EJI was 8. The aligned demonstration area score was 10, and the aligned priority corridor was 10. The original project budget was $6 million, as they requested $6 million. The adjusted overall project budget came in over $6 million, which is weird, I know, but essentially they found additional dollars. So I'll just start there. But with the $6.8 million adjusted project budget, we conditionally awarded them $2 million in support of this endeavor, and they have leveraged, or have committed $4.8 million. $4.8 million from committed funds. The Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater St. Louis, in partnership with PGA Reach Gateway Foundation, is thrilled to be launching phase 1 of the Transformative Youth and Community Center of North St. Louis. Once complete, the entire project would transform the formerly derelict Carter Carburetor Factory in North St. Louis, which long brought prosperity to residents in the community when North St. Louis was considered the epicenter. Closed in the mid-80s, the factory sat vacant for 30 years. Thanks to the good fortune of the ARPA dollars, federal funding, the total of $2.5 million and PGA Reach will blend $500,000 in grants and donations from individuals and foundations to fulfill phase 1, which includes a driving range with 10 bays for youth, residents, active military, and disabled veterans to learn the basics of golf. This $2.9 million phase 1 project includes considerable site improvements like stormwater retention, perimeter sidewalks. It includes fine grading of the earthwork, a canopy structure, T-box turf, driving range turf, netting poles, electrical, architecture, engineering, permits, all pre-development in those things.
Dylan, I think we had a couple
I'm
of board
sorry.
members. That's fine. They had to drop off, but we wanted to make sure that we get through all of
A little
them.
bit quicker.
by
Okay, I'm sorry.
providing the information today. So let's move on to Camp Joven. Just a real quick overview of the amount they were awarded and what the uses of the funds will be.
So they were awarded $500,000. The original budget was 1.7. The funds will serve to build a new professional business center that will be the headquarters for the organization. The completed facility will house event spaces, computer training, for program workshops, and cooking classes, entrepreneurship training, practices, co-working spaces. This flex space is just the beginning investment for the community. The future phases are to include outdoor spaces and pavilions, specifically green space.
Hope House STL.
Hope House's original project budget was $194,000. They were conditionally awarded $100,000. Hope House is a residential housing program for homeless families located in Northwest St. Louis City. It's a 32,000 square foot complex consisting of 50 housing units, administrative offices, an on-site child development center, and a multi-purpose family learning center. A small food pantry is in place for families entering the program and may need food for an emergency basis. Currently, the roof over the residential facility, to include the flat roof portion, is failing. Hope House St. Louis delivers program services directly to its clients. Sorry, I'll keep going. At the present time, the condition of the roof is not acceptable and recent repairs have been costly. Hope House cannot expect to continue in operation in good form without the prompt replacement of the roof.
Northside Youth and Senior Services.
Northside Youth and Senior Services, the original project budget was $4.8 million. We conditionally awarded them $1 million. The adjusted project budget came in at over $7.3 million. That was because they, with our commitment, they had a mad dash to raise additional funds, and they leveraged $6.3 million in additional funds, including support from CDA on this project. And so this new multi-purpose building on the same street as their headquarters on the vacant property will include a multi-purpose space that will include a gymnasium and be a host for an array of activities, from recreational sports to fitness classes to community events, fostering engagement through physical activity, teamwork, personal growth. For seniors, the space will offer tailored wellness programs, light recreation, and social gatherings to combat social isolation. Yeah. I'll press forward.
Yep. Old North Restoration Group.
They originally requested $36,500. We've conditionally awarded them $36,500.
What are the plans for the funds?
Excuse me. Oh, okay. Thank you. Probably the same things. Nah, right. Cool. All right. The office provides physical space to conduct important work and serve as a hub for neighborhood. The purpose is to renovate their office, prominently located across the street from Crown Candy Kitchen, and will provide a focal point for housing initiatives for interested visitors and for volunteer involvement. This will be staffed with the project manager. The office will provide a place for developers, business owners, and especially potential neighbors to come to know more for more information and guidance. Yeah, I'll pause there.
Then Playtime Academy.
The original project budget was $422,000. They were conditionally awarded $100,000. Playtime Academy Children's Development Center is a well-established daycare and preschool founded in 2014, committed to providing a nurturing, safe, and educational environment for children.
What are they planning to use the funds for?
Yeah, so Playtime Academy is using the budget for the asphalt parking lot, exterior parking, and fence repair replacement. Yeah,
Then the last two, Riverview, West Florissant, and then Young Voices with Action. Close us out.
so Riverview West Forest and Community Development Corporation, the original project budget was $150,000, and they were conditionally awarded $50,000. Me. So this will go towards repaving the parking lot, replacing the roof, tuck pointing the building, replacing the exterior sign, the fencing, replacing a broken window, and replacing the irrigation system. And for Young Voices with Action, the last one, I believe, the original project budget was around $7 million. We have conditionally awarded them $1.5 million. The full project budget came out to be around $11.9 million. They've leveraged over $10.4 million in funds. And this Wellston Loop Mixed-Use Development Project is community-led redevelopment project initiated by Young Voices with Action and its community partners to be located in the historic neighborhood of on Martin Luther King Drive, excuse me. The project consists of multi-level building that consists of 4 retail commercial units and 16 residential units that will provide affordable housing options and business expansion and development to spur economic and human development within the community.
Thank you for that overview. Dylan, any questions from the board around any of these projects? I know we were attempting to send this information out to the board of directors as early as possible so you all can have as much information and be informed prior to coming into these meetings. But I do want to recognize Director Gilbert, your hand in regards to these projects.
Thank you. I did have a whole lot of questions. As you know, I sent them in. Apologies for not doing so until yesterday morning.
Okay.
But some of these are really big, and the projects are total budgets are really high. And my concern is, whether or not our funding is properly utilized to leverage the rest of it, and how much of it is committed, especially the to the Young Voices with Action youth one. They're huge projects, and they're basically one person offices. It's is totally something new they're going into. We're doing the physical stuff, but we don't have any interest in their, whether they've got the budget to actually operate this stuff. And I understand that's not within the scope of this program, but those things are concerning to me. If we're putting $1.5 million into something and we don't have a good concept of the future operation, that's just a concern I have.
Oh, and that's a great concern. And I think that's the concern that we share as well as we're doing the due diligence. And one of the reasons that you don't see a lot of projects provided the whole full project cost is so that they can have the leverage, so that they can invite partners, so that they can procure and engage with proper development practices so that they can earn the additional funds. In this particular case of Young Voices with Action, they've actually committed $10.4 million in funding themselves. Not only that, but they've committed to hire a development company to help them run and build this project. And so
yeah, but what they've committed themselves, I mean, we show leverage / committed funds. Do they still have to go raise all this? And in some cases, you provided some documentation showing that they've gotten grants or been approved from grants, but some of the things that I got, they're expired. It was approved so long ago. Do we know if it's still good? That concerns me, that we don't have enough to show that they can complete a project when it's from the ground up. It's not an existing building. It's new construction.
Yeah, and I think that's been part of the due diligence process, Director Gilbert, and I definitely understand your concerns there. And that's something that we've expressed to each one of these businesses. And I think through the due diligence process, which Dylan can speak to more, is we've had not just conversations with the business owners, but also their development team, their general contractors, even some of the operators of these buildings and these businesses as well. I would say, for example, with Young Voices with Action, since we called that one out, they have a commitment on the new market tax credit side. They have a new market tax credit consulting team that's already lined up. They have Easton Development Company that's providing them with support. They had a guaranteed maximum price contract that was presented with the full budget. They had other funding sources and commitment letters that were provided as part of their due diligence checklist. And we've also been able to have discussions with their lenders and their operators around the sustainability of the project. And they also have letters of intent and commitments from tenants to move into the space to ensure the project is stable. The reason why the additional $1.5 million was needed for the project was to help mitigate some of the additional risk. As you know, as a banker, lenders were not willing to go up even to 80% from a debt perspective on this project. And so they went at about 60%, and then being able to leverage the other federal grants that they've received, as well as the new market tax credit commitment. And then this 1.5 was the last piece that needed to get this 11.9, almost $12 million project completed. And I think that's a great testament to the type of projects that we want to support that have those type of commitments in place. And this is kind of the last piece where we're not saying, okay, this is $1.5 million, how you want to raise the other 10.5 million to get this project completed. They've been able to exemplify through the one-on-one sessions, in addition to the documentation that has been submitted, to show that they have the necessary things to begin construction and ultimately to get it completed. And they've been able to provide the documentation to show proof of that during the due diligence process. And that's why, again, it's taken so long to bring some of these projects to the board, is because we wanted to verify that information before we actually brought it before the board. I know it's, can be frustrating for these businesses and these development projects not to have that formal approval, but as part of our diligence process, we wanted to make sure that we had all information prior to coming back before the board.
And I agree with that. I think that's necessary. I think that the fact that you've done that should be reflected in the project overviews that you provided to us. Some of them have budgets, some of them don't. Some of them tell me about the other sources of funds, some of them don't. They're really inconsistent. And I would urge you to get a more formal format that
No,
says
absolutely.
what we get is going to have this information, so we don't have all these questions.
Yeah,
Oh,
so, and I just want to say one thing on that point, and that's exactly right. I think one of the areas that we attempted to provide more of a summary through these overviews on the transparency portal. There are more in-depth information on the budgets and the application and the details there. We will do a better job of ensuring that we provide a more consistent layout of the budget that's more apples to apples comparisons as you all are reviewing it. I think our goal here was just to ensure that we provide a summary to the board and not give too many details, because we didn't want to overwhelm the board with the amount of information, but just give you enough details and information to provide and make an informed decision. And if more information is being requested moving forward, we will be sure to do so in regards to these projects. But a lot of the information that was being requested was on the transparency portal. However, navigating the transparency portal for every one of these projects in order to make a decision can be time consuming. So we will do our best to provide a more succinct overview for the board moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, even if it's just a statement that the other sources of funding have been verified and, that's enough. I don't have to have copies of every commitment letter. I just need to know that it's been done, and that should be a part of the summary.
Yeah, so I can confirm it has been done, but
Thank you.
it will be part of the summary moving forward. And many of the recensions that you've seen that we've shared, we rescinded these projects because we were not able to get that verification of those commitment letters or the contracts with the general contractors or subcontractors to complete this work, and that's why a lot of the recensions you see are here before you, or they were not able to verify their payroll information or get the proper documentation over to us. And to date, I think I just had it up here, we've rescinded 35 projects totaling about $4.7 million that will go back into the pool to support other projects that could be seen as viable. We'll be bringing more information to the board in March about that overall process. And in addition to the $1.5 million that was reallocated from SLDC administrative expenses, we will have, almost $6.2 million to date that we can bring back to the board and put back into the projects that can actually be financially feasible prior to December 30th of 2026. So I definitely understand, the additional information needs to be shared, but I can confirm here today from my staff and Dylan and Lorna's team has been working diligently with each one of these businesses to verify not only their sources and uses are accurate and balanced, but also the sources are also verified through letters of commitment from the various funding sources.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay.
Is there anybody left?
No, I think Alderwoman Sonia, I see your hand.
Hi. I just wanted to, I do know the answer to this question because I spoke with you all before, but I just wanted to put it on record. I know that there's in some of the information in the reports, it says that some of the things were not within the identified prioritization areas. And so I know that that is the result of some legislative updates that happened at the board, but I thought it would be good to put that information on record just to provide some clarity on, why that language is there and what that means.
Yeah, no, for sure. And that's very important. So I would say the aligned priority corridors, there was initially in the first board bill that was passed by the Board of Aldermen, highlighted some key priority corridors that were to be the focus areas, or the areas where these businesses had to be located in order to qualify. When the board bill or the ordinance was amended, it included the opportunity to expand the program to all businesses north of Delmar or on Delmar. However, in that same legislation, it did still include prioritization for businesses that are within those priority corridors. So to ensure that we were following the legislation in our scoring process, we included priority corridors that were defined in the legislation with additional points in our scoring criteria. So that's why if it says it's not in an aligned priority corridor, that does not prevent the project from being funded. They just have a higher bar to be able to meet in order for funding to be made available to those businesses.
Thank you. And I think the way that I think people who at least watch the HUD's committee might be familiar with it is the way, sorry, that the pointing system works. That just want to make sure it was on record to explain that people who were, because the legislation was updated, that it wasn't limited to those corridors, but that you get prioritization, that applicants who are within those areas receive some points for being within that identified priority area, but it is still open to others. And I just know some of this can be kind of nuanced and complex to follow. So I want to make sure that that was on the record for folks who might have that question.
Yes, thank you. Again, for the thoroughness, Alderwoman Sanye, and always making sure the public is clear on the process. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution number 25 SLDC 1005.
Motion.
Have a motion of second.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Director Arnold,
Aye.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard,
Abstain.
Director Gilbert,
Aye.
Alderwoman Sonier,
Aye.
Director Reed,
Aye.
and Chair Richardson.
Aye. With the majority present voting aye, the motion passes to approve resolution number 25 SLDC 1005. The next item on the open agenda, and I think we did a thorough update on the North City Grant Program, but just so the board is aware, to date, we have 394 grants that have been fully vetted, verified, and now approved by the board, totaling $22.8 million among the various programs. And then we had 35, again, recensions. And so we at a total of about 4.7 million. And so we are still moving forward with getting these programs funded and these businesses funded. And we are excited about the great progress. The team, as you can imagine, 394 grants is a lot. There's documentation, sometimes hundreds of pages of documentation that each one of these grants has to be reviewed for. So that's thousands of pages of information. So again, I want to commend the compliance team as well as our other strategic growth team that's worked diligently on getting this moved forward. We do have an executive session today, and Olivia, if you can please give us the appropriate section in which we will need to reference in order to go into closed session.
That would be RISMO section 610-021-1.
Okay. So per section 610.0211, we will enter into executive session. I would like to take a motion to go into executive session.
So move, Gilbert.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call.
Director Arnold,
Aye.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard,
Aye.
Director Gilbert,
Aye.
Alderwoman Sonier,
Aye.
Director Reed,
Aye.
and Chair Richardson.
Aye. With all present voting aye, the motion passes to go into executive session. I believe those who are online should have the link to the executive session. To the executive session, if you could go into that link, and then we will keep our board of directors here and close out pause the current session and come back into the room. So thank you. Okay. I'd like to call the meeting back to order for February 20th, 2025. Can I have a roll call, please?
Director Arnold,
Present.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard,
Here.
Director Gilbert,
Here.
Alderwoman Sonier,
Present.
Director Reed,
Here.
and Chair Richardson.
Present. Thank you all again for joining. The next regular scheduled board meeting is March 20th, 2025. Look forward to seeing you all next month. If you all can join in person, that'd be great. If you all have to join online, I understand and appreciate you all joining us for the extended period of time today. With that, I would like to make a motion to adjourn the regular board meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion second.
Director Arnold,
Aye.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard,
Aye.
Alderwoman Sonier,
Aye.
Director Reed,
Aye.
and Chair Richardson.
Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you all for the time today. Appreciate it. Have a good rest of your week and month.
Thank you.
You too.